Okay, welcome to the Retro Game Club Podcast, Season 4, Episode 17. That is also Episode 128. We are 128-bit now. I am Rob, and joining me is someone who just got bought by the Engracer Group, Hugh.
That's right. I've always said that I am more than willing to sell out.
You are now embraced.
Yeah.
So what's been happening?
That is always a good question. So, I mean, a lot of it is like I'm dealing with like getting kids back to school and stuff. So my life has been kind of busy. I got one kid that just started high school, and that's apparently a bunch of logistics now. And my other kid's going back to college in like a day, so that's been a bunch of stuff. Actual gaming, I've just been playing the Live Alive remake, or Live Alive, or however. Someone will send an email saying, well, technically the kana for the original game was blah, blah, blah. But I'm going to call it Live Alive until that happens. And I thought it was a short game, but then it turns out like the last chapter of the game is pretty long. It's about as long as like the other chapters combined.
Huh, weird.
Yeah, it kind of makes sense why they did it that way, though.
You're enjoying it?
Oh, yeah, I like the game. Yeah, I'll probably, there's a chance I will finish it tonight if I don't crash. I have to be up like super early tomorrow because what's bad? Like there's two things you never want to hear in life. Like if you call the doctor or like your car mechanic, in this case car mechanic, and you describe a problem and they say, I never heard of that before.
Oh, great.
Yeah, some like random part of my car just like fell off. That doesn't seem to be anything essential because the car drives just fine. But when I described it to the mechanic, they're like, yeah, that's weird. I've never heard of that happening before. So I have to get up at like 5 tomorrow so I can get there when they open to have them look at it.
Oh, jeez. Not fun.
Yeah, I've already kind of penciled in $1,000.
Yes. So. They kind of have their default. They go like, even if there's nothing wrong, they're going to fix something.
Maybe. Well, the one I'm going to typically does not do that. So, I'll let you know in the next episode how much I'm in the hole.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about it for gaming for me. What have you been up to?
Well, I did play our Game Club games a lot, but other than that, past like week and a half, I didn't have too much time for other stuff, but I did end up finishing Force Unleashed. And there was some time I spent away from it just because, like I said, I didn't have time. So I didn't realize I was like pretty much at the end when I stopped before I had like an hour and 10 minutes left. And I had to kind of teach myself how to play it again. So I just kind of brute force mashed through it. And it might be my all-time favorite Star Wars game now. I like it better than, oh man, what was the one that came out last year? They're already doing a sequel to. I forget the name of that one.
Knights of the Old Republic?
No, that remake got postponed to like 2024.
Okay, I'm just naming things that I've heard of.
Fallen Jedi Order.
Okay.
That was a pretty good one. But I think this is better, and I think this is more proof that the extended universe that they totally threw in the garbage is much better than everything else. That's my hot take.
Has anyone done like a ROM hack of like one of the GTA games to turn it into the Book of Boba Fett game?
No, but well, I don't know if they have, but if they haven't, they definitely should do that.
Yeah, because I think Book of Boba Fett is basically a GTA game plot-wise. But with much slower driving action.
I was just going to say the scooters would have to go like 5 miles an hour.
Yeah.
That's really funny. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I want to hit up with some other games before I get into the Force Unleashed 2, but I'm definitely going to do that. What else do I have in my notes? Oh yeah, I had an epiphany one night. Everyone could put this on their Rob's predictions list for 2022 that because the Steam Deck is really successful, it's getting a lot of great reviews, and it's actually being used by people that bought it, unlike most things, like the Atari VCS and stuff. I have a feeling, obviously, other companies are going to copy it, which is not a bad thing, but specifically, maybe an Atari VCS mobile with their stupid Atari OS. So that's a long shot, but I just wanted to throw that out there, that I kind of hoping it happens just because it's funny.
Well, I mean, it wouldn't be that difficult to, get one of these like systems you get on Alibaba, right? One of the their imitation switches. Things are like the form factor of the Switch, but run Android.
Yeah.
And you could just slap an Atari sticker on that. I mean, that's not.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal.
And Atari OS is just, I think it's just Ubuntu that they.
Right. Now, the problem is it would have to have like original games or anything at all that would make you want to buy it.
Exactly. Because people would just put Steam OS on it anyway.
Right. Which then you could buy the Atari Flashback collection.
Exactly. Yes.
So.
That's funny. But yeah, and I just wanted to apologize to the listeners for a slight delay in our recording. We've just been pretty busy. So probably be busy for the next few weeks, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
School getting back in session and all that kind of stuff. But with fall coming around, I'm sure we'll be drinking more while recording with all those nice Oktoberfest beers.
Yeah, the local Binny's. That's a chain of liquor stores. I don't know if they're everywhere, but they're at least all over Chicago. That's already converted fully to Oktoberfest.
Oh, speaking of Chicago, I just had to drive there and back the other weekend. And there is construction from Ann Arbor through Wisconsin, pretty much.
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah.
It's insane. But yeah, so I guess we have some news here. We should probably do a podcast, huh?
Yeah.
They announced the 60 Genesis games that'll be on the Sega Genesis Mini 2.
Yeah. I don't have anything good to say about this list. I'm kind of overall disappointed. I mean, most of these are games that have been on many, many collections. And the only reason I was even considering this is because they originally announced some very, very expensive Sega CD games would be included. But now it turns out none of the English versions of those will be included. There are English versions of like Lunar and Lunar 2 and Popful Mail. Those are all like $100, $150 on eBay. But they're not on the final collection. So I will not be getting this.
I mean, I'm pretty positive on this one. It's a huge list and a lot of good games in there. I think this
also Clay Fighter.
Yes, and there is Clay Fighter in there. And
Splatterhouse 2. I
wish this list was the list for the first one. Kind of combine this with the first one, and you would have a very good Genesis Mini.
Yeah.
But yeah, not too bad. What's the price here? Does it say?
It's some bizarre thing where it's like several hundred. It's over $100, and it's only sold on Amazon, and it does not have free shipping.
Oh yeah, it's $99 here. Let's see, but that links to the Sega Japan store, so who knows?
You have to buy it from the Sega Japan store.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything about this is just, I don't know. I think the mini consoles have officially jumped the shark with this one.
Yeah, I'm not getting this one. I really haven't used my other ones much, so I'm not going to spend any more money. I do like that the Ooze is on this, though. That's one of my all-time favorites, as a lot of people know. We got some Doom running on some stuff, huh?
Yeah, let's see. We've got Doom running on a electronic badge given out to convention attendees.
It was an electronic music fest.
Oh, okay. So there you go. I don't know how playable it is, but it does install and work.
Yeah. And then went on a John Deere tractor. So apparently John Deere turned into a service company. I guess this happened a long time ago, where farmers can't fix their own tractors anymore. They have to pay John Deere for that stuff, and probably BIOS updates and stuff like that. And so the guy that hacks these for farmers also can put Doom on there as well. I love it.
Yeah. I approve of that one. That's fine. Maybe we can get the McDonald's ice cream machine to run Doom next.
Yeah, absolutely.
Since I know hacking those is another big one.
Yeah, somehow that's been in the courts for a long time, hasn't it? Or is that done?
I forget how that ended, but it was something. I listened to a podcast about the whole McDonald's ice cream machine hacking saga.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're a franchise, so you own your business, but you have to lease the ice cream machine from McDonald's, so then it breaks all the time. But then someone else figured a way to hack it, so you don't have to get fixed by McDonald's. It's like a big. It was a big thing.
Yeah, yeah. And I guess Mario 64 is now a first-person horror game.
Yeah, I don't know. This site won't open with my ad blocker, so yeah, I can't tell.
Oh, I have an ad blocker. It's opening, but it's I wouldn't call it terrifying, but it's pretty cool. I like these hacks. I don't expect that anyone else has watched or listened to this, but there's a 5-hour interview with John Carmack.
Jeez, that sounds pretty intense.
You know, it wasn't bad. I mostly like him, I think. He does actually talk about programming and stuff, and he actually gets into some algorithms and squashes some myths of stuff he did and didn't create for the programming world. I wouldn't say create, I'd just say did first and got credit for, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, if you or any of our listeners want something to listen to in the background while they're working, this is not a bad interview to do. And I'll keep going with the news because I know this is the one you don't want to talk about.
This next article kind of makes me sick, but yeah.
Yeah. Pac-Man will be a live action movie, and I really hope it's Chris Pratt.
Is Pac-Man?
Yeah, yep. No makeup or anything.
Sure. Yeah, just no. At least paint him yellow.
That's funny. So, we'll see, I guess, on this one. Question mark.
I don't even know what you would do with the Pac-Man movie. The Pac-Man cartoon was just Popeye, right?
Yeah,
you remember that cartoon from the 80s?
Yeah, and there was the Ghostly Adventures too, which turned into great video games. 2 video games out of that series, which I thought was actually pretty good. I actually like that cartoon. It was one of those early 3D ones, kind of like Reboot.
Okay, I somehow missed that. I have some merch from it. I don't know why, but I don't think I've ever seen the cartoon.
Yeah, it's worth checking out. The games are fantastic. I mean, the games are way better than they should be, especially the second one. And yeah, so we already talked more about that than I thought we would.
Yeah, I planned to not talk about that at all, and here I am. Where are we? Punch Out. You can, apparently it's not a hack, it's a hidden mode where player 2 can control the opponent.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it sounds all right, actually.
I think this might create maybe, I mean, I don't know how the mode works exactly, but like maybe make some different kind of speed runs, do some fun stuff with this. But I thought this might end up being, as you would put it, millennial discovers things that people older than them already knew, but I couldn't really find it anywhere. So I think this might be a legit new thing.
You know, my kids make fun of these TikTok channels, and I was thinking about creating a fake one. I don't have TikTok, but I was thinking about it anyways.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of apparently TikTok channels where it's someone our age, like holding up some object and being like, "Hey, you Zoomer kids, I bet you don't know what this is." But he's like holding up like, you know, a copy of Super Mario Brothers, and the kid's like, "Yeah, I totally know what that is," but like he legitimately thinks like people under a certain age don't know what a Legend of Zelda cartridge is.
There was a video of some kids. I mean, they were pretty young. They were like, geez, this was probably in like 2014, 2013. And these kids were like, you know, I'd like to say 10 to 12 years old. And, you know, they put them in front of an American NES. And they were like, "Hey, kids, what's this?" And they were like, "Is it like a VCR? Is it like a toaster?" So that none of them really knew. but
I don't know.
it could have been staged.
I think a lot of that stuff is. But my kids have been encouraging me with some of the junk I have to do a channel like that, but with things that definitely everybody knows what it is.
Yeah.
Like I hold up like a Michael Jordan jersey. But you've never heard of this guy, kids, right?
Yeah.
But I would do that with, the Super Nintendo, any other sort of obvious system that I think everybody recognizes as a game system.
Yeah.
But the NES has Nintendo written on it. Kids know what Nintendo is. Did they scratch off the name Nintendo?
I can't remember. They possibly could have.
I'm skeptical that was real and not staged.
This next article, though, which we have been on this blog many times, I was thinking we could use for the intro too, but I like the intro we came up with.
It is, yeah. And since either Disney or Embracer, who I guess I've never even heard of until this week, own all IP at this point.
Yeah, Embracer is just huge. This next one, Janet Jackson had the power to crash laptop computers.
Yeah, this was an interesting one. So this was the song. This is from Raymond Chen, who writes a blog about like Windows history and stuff. And it was specifically about the song Rhythm Nation, which plays a note, has some music that at a certain frequency causes hard disk drives to wobble just a little bit, thereby crashing laptops. It was specific models of laptops that would crash when they heard this sound.
Yeah, it has the resonating frequency of some models of 5400 RPM laptop hard drives. That's just great.
Yeah.
I mean, I also kind of crash when I hear Janet Jackson.
Oh, I do not have any objection to the music of Janet Jackson.
And we have a last minute ad that I put on here that I won't blame you if you did not read because you were working.
I did not.
So this is on the Arcade Blogger. I don't recognize this blog, but I do like it. And someone found and digitized some notes and like meeting notes from the creation of the Tron arcade cabinet. And it talks about kind of how they planned to make the game, how the game came out, definitely some concerns that management had about the deadlines and the scope of the game, and really interesting stuff. Really cool piece of history here.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised I didn't follow this blog because I'm sure I've been on it like 100 times. It's the same one. I think they do like arcade restoration stuff. They do a lot of that kind of thing. Now I lost the tab.
And he says, order my book, and it's a book about Missile Command. A journey through the top of arcade classics.
Yeah, I could swear I thought for sure I followed this blog, but I guess I didn't because I know I've seen other stuff. I feel like this is the same one who does, like, hey, I found a barn filled with games that have been rained on for 30 years. Kind of articles.
Yep, you're right. Wisconsin Rural Arcade Warehouse. Yeah, he has a whole section for that stuff. A lot of gross-looking, dirty cabinets.
Yeah. So he does a lot of stuff like that, which I like that kind of thing. I mean, I doubt I'll ever stumble across something like that, but
yeah, this is the kind of stuff I like when I'm sitting on the couch to kind of scroll through. But yeah, so everyone should check out the Arcade Blogger blog. And that's our news for this episode, right? We didn't miss any? No.
I think that's everything. Yeah.
We got some Game Club. Wanna do yours? I think it'll be.
Yeah. So I did Mousetrap. I played the Intellivision version that was on archive.org because it was easier than getting an Intellivision emulator to work. I don't know what it is about Intellivision emulation that it's so finicky. I've really never had. The only thing that's ever worked was like the one that the Intellivision company, not the current one, but some previous iteration published for Windows, like back in, I don't know, late 90s maybe. Anyways, yeah, so I played it on archive.org, and it's really been a long time since I played Mousetrap. I guess my memories were that it was kind of a Pac-Man knockoff, but
Hmm.
really it plays a little bit like Pac and Pal. Like it has some similarities in that it has this whole like gate system.
Yeah.
Um, if Pac and Pal used a gate system like Mousetrap instead of the one it actually used, it would have been a much better game, I think. It's a pretty easy game. Like I remember, like when I was playing it, I remember that. Oh yeah, if you need to take a break, you can just kind of like lock yourself in a room. Go make a pizza or you know do some chores, go to bed, whatever. Right? Like you can safely lock yourself in a corner. Um, the cat AI doesn't seem to be very smart, so I feel like I probably could play this game for like an hour without dying. And I do think it's funny that you eat a dog bone and then you turn into a dog.
Yeah, that is pretty good.
That's a definitely what's interesting about it is like Pac-Man you don't bank the energizers for later, right? You eat them and then the ghosts change right away. Whereas Mousetrap you're like holding on to them and you can
Mhm.
use them later. So I thought that was pretty cool. It's just been such a long time since I played this game, and I really haven't played any of the other versions. I thought I had the ColecoVision version of this on the ColecoVision flashback, the thing I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's not on there. I thought for some reason I remembered it being on there, but I guess I just hallucinated that.
Huh.
But this is another one like they really haven't done much with this IP. Like you don't see this. Maybe I'm missing, but I don't really recall seeing this in a lot of other collections.
It's going to be made into a live action movie.
Yeah, I certainly hope so. This you could at least do as a live action movie, right? I mean, you
Hmm.
have live animals.
Yeah. Yeah.
You could do that.
I mean, it's kind of like Tom and Jerry at that point, but just a lot of cats instead of just one.
Yeah, yeah. So what do you think of Mousetrap?
I like this game. I grew up with this one on the 2600. I think it's the only port I played. Until recently, I had no clue it was an arcade game. I should have known that. But
Yeah, I don't think I ever saw it in the arcade.
yeah, I definitely did not. And yeah, I love the sprites. Like you said, the AI isn't that great. And I do think it has a lot of great replayability. And yeah, if any of our listeners haven't played this, I would say it's a definite play. At least try it.
Yeah,
I think it's great.
yeah. This is definitely worth trying.
Yeah, I played it on I have my jailbroken firmware on one of my analog devices, the super, no, not the super one, the NT Noir, and so you could play Atari games with FPGA on it, and yeah, it worked fantastic. I just used a Nintendo controller. Worked great. Yeah, and any final thoughts on this one?
No, that's about it.
Well, I did a Space Channel 5, a much different game than Mousetrap. It is a 1999 Dreamcast game developed by the same guy that did Rez and Tetris Effect, which, if any of our listeners haven't played either of those games, I mean, they are both like top tier games in my book.
Mhm.
And in fact, Tetris Effect might actually be the first Tetris that's better than the original. Anyway, you play as Ulala, this you're a reporter for Space Channel 5, and aliens come and start capturing people, making them dance. And so you kind of have to have dance-offs with them and use one button to shoot the aliens and another button to kind of capture and save the humans. And then they dance with you against the aliens. Eventually, you can have Michael Jackson, who is Space Mike, as a partner. Apparently, I read the history on that for some reason someone from Sega showed him that, and they showed, Michael the game. And he liked it so much, he was just like, put me in it. I want to be in it. Like, and so it was a last minute change that they did just to make Michael Jackson happy. But I think it's funny. Do you remember Apollo Smile from the 90s?
Oh, that sounds really familiar.
She was like a character of this blonde woman. I forget her real name, but she went as Apollo Smile, and she would be on MTV. I think MTV, maybe other channels, where she would kind of dress up like an anime girl, and she kind of called herself the live action anime girl. If you Google her, you'll probably recognize her immediately. I feel like every 90s boy had a crush on her, but she does the voice of Ulala.
Okay.
And they originally wanted what's her name from the band. Oh man, what are they called? They did the Groove is in the Heart song.
D-Light or something.
Yes. Okay. They wanted her, and she said no, and so they they're like, okay, I guess we won't do that. But they still named the character Ulala, and D-Light thought that they ripped off the song because in the intro of the song, she says Ulala.
Which was a word she invented, of course.
Yeah, like trademarked or whatever. And I think she lost horribly and lost a ton of money trying to sue Sega.
So I want to assure you that Apollo Smile I have never even heard of until this day.
Huh, yeah. It's definitely go back and watch some videos. Definitely a product of its era. Pretty entertaining.
I'm on the IMDb page, and it's just a big blank.
Wow. Yeah.
She apparently hosted the 2000 MTV Video Music Awards.
That sounds right.
Featuring Cisco.
That's awesome.
In the only year he was famous. All right.
Well, yeah, this was definitely made in the era where people were hopeful for the future. I think we're not in that era right now, but hopefully we'll get back there. And happy, fun things like Space Channel 5 is made. I should say that, yeah, it's a 3D game. It's really a Simon Says game. It really is. They tell you to do something, and then you copy them. Mm-hmm. And the artwork is very stylized, of like a futuristic Austin Powers type thing. And so finally we'll get to kind of my review, whereas I played this game briefly with a buddy of mine a few weeks ago, and I enjoyed playing it with him, right? And it's why it made this Game Club game discussion. And then for Game Club, I went back and played it alone, and I did not have fun with it. I was just kind of annoyed. The way she moved was kind of, I don't know, off-putting and awkward. Maybe it was the mood I was in, but I definitely feel like, this is a game you want to play with friends. It's kind of more of a party game, maybe pass the controller back and forth, that kind of thing. Playing it alone, I don't know, not so much. But it's not a bad game. It got a sequel. It's definitely strange, and I like games that get weird like that. So, kind of a mixed review for me. What's your experience with this?
Yeah, I just now am learning there was a Game Boy Advance version, and I kind of am now curious about that.
Oh, me too, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't have a copy of this anywhere. So I attempted to watch the speed run, which is like 45 minutes. It's not a very fast speed run, but perhaps there's no like hacks to get through the game super quick. Mm-hmm. And I had no idea what was going on. I think this is not a good game to watch. Like there's other games I've never played that I can watch the speed run and still understand what's happening.
Yeah, you definitely have to watch the cutscenes.
What is this even about?
Yeah. You have to watch cutscenes to know what it's about, and it's like speedrunning Parappa the Rappa. Like I don't know how you do that.
That I get. But I guess if you skip all the scenes, then you don't know the story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just a guy dancing, or in this case, a woman dancing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd love to hear listener feedback on this one. I know we got a few in there, but what are you gonna play for next episode?
Well, you should announce first because I picked my game based off your pick.
Oh yeah, because I watched that new Predator movie, Prey, and I actually enjoyed it. I actually really enjoyed it. I picked Alien versus Predator, and I will go into other reasons why I picked it when we actually talk about it.
All right. And that I learned this week is owned by Embracer Group now.
For real, or is that a joke?
No, it's for real. They own the Alien versus Predator IP.
That's awesome. I mean,
so
it's not awesome. It's cool for them.
Yeah, they must. I know this is going to sound really dumb, but I don't know if they own Alien and Predator, or just Alien versus Predator?
Oh, you know what? Let me check. I think Alien versus Predator is a DC property. Let me look at this up.
Oh, okay.
Comics. Let's see. It is Dark Horse. So it is not DC.
When I was reading about, like, it was like, did I get this wrong?
Oh, wait. I was totally wrong before. Oh, I'm probably having so many people email me. People, please don't email me. Embracer Group owns Dark Horse. They don't own DC. That makes so much more sense. I think like Warner Brothers or HBO owns DC. And yeah, Embracer Group owns Dark Horse. That's how they own this. Okay. I hope.
And Dark Horse is Alien versus Predator.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. I'm looking that up right now here. Dark Horse Media. Wait, is that Dark Horse Media itself is like 100 things.
They have a lot of stuff.
Duckman, The Mask, Time Cop. A bunch of stuff I don't know. Axe Cop. Oh, that sounds interesting. Umbrella Academy, which maybe people will dislike me, but I did not understand that show at all.
Resident Alien, one of the best sci-fi shows ever, I think.
Mm-hmm. So Embracer Group has some ownership of Alien versus Predator. I don't know how this all works out, but it's on the list of things they own. I see it right here.
Yeah, wow. I can't believe I got that DC one wrong. I feel bad now. Maybe I'll do some tricky editing.
No, you where you voice over that part.
Yeah, and make it really obvious.
Voice.
Yeah.
You should do that for sure.
Use like Siri's voice.
Yeah.
So what's your game going to be?
So I'm going to go with Predator 2, which is kind of an underrated game and movie. I think the movie Predator 2 is, I don't know what the reputation is. I know it was not successful because Arnold wasn't in it. Mm-hmm. And it's like takes place in the city and is a completely different movie than the first one. Mm-hmm. But I thought it was a decent movie. And the game based on it is not bad too. Yeah. There's like Sega Genesis and I think maybe Master System and Game Gear versions.
Yeah, I'm excited to play that one. It's been a very long time. Should we get into some emails?
Yeah. So, you want to take the first one?
Yeah. So Jordan wrote in, who loves Space Channel 5, amazing music and visuals and crazy gameplay. Definitely something from the late 90s. It couldn't have lived any other time. And you could have Michael Jackson into your dance troupe. And he also had a comment that the Lynx was his first and only Atari system, which I think the last few episodes we had some Lynx discussion.
We did. I think I made a comment that I was surprised. Someone else, like in the comments, like in social media or something, had mentioned that the Lynx was like their first and only Atari system. And I think I was expressed some surprise at that. Mm-hmm. Because, like, it's hard for me. I guess I just assume everybody who had a Lynx probably also at some point had like a 2600. But I could see if you were the right age that like you got a Lynx when you were, if you were like 12 when the Lynx came out and you got that for, birthday or Christmas or from mowing lawns or whatever, I guess you would have been too young to have a 2600. Mm-hmm. And maybe you never would have gone back to get one or any other Atari system. So I guess maybe that checks out.
Yeah, if you got a Lynx as your first system, the only other Atari system you would get is the Jaguar, which is unlikely.
Which is unlikely because nobody bought the Jaguar.
Yeah.
I mean, I did, but once it was on clearance. All right. Majors writes in about a couple of things, mentions the backlog that I posted and wanted to comment on the game Super Albatross that was on my backlog on the category of games that are not localized and difficult to play. So if you don't know, that is a combination golf and RPG game.
Nice.
So never been localized. I don't know if anyone's tried. And then he recommends Go-Go Birdie Chance, if you want to try weird Japanese golf games. Also has no English translation and is, I think, based on an anime, perhaps.
Nice.
Mass Effect 2. So you played that recently, right?
Yes. Great game.
He had a weird story where he borrowed, I guess it's a 2-disc game on the 360. I didn't know that. So he borrowed the first disc from a friend, and then there was a blizzard, and ended up being stuck with just the first disc for a few days.
Oh, that sounds horrible.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of a time when I've been like snowed in with just one game. I guess depending what part of the country you live in, snowed in is different.
I was going to say, he lives down south, so you get a millimeter of snow and the world stops.
World stops for a few days, yeah. Yeah. Thunder Castle. He wanted to point out that there's a hack for Thunder Castle called Mystic Castle that updates many of the problems with the game, such as making it faster and adding different levels and generally making it more fun. So that's cool. Thunder Castle is kind of a neat game idea, but it's just really difficult to play. Have you played Thunder Castle?
No.
I mean, the idea is you're like in this maze, and there's enemies, and then occasionally you get a power-up, and then you can chase the enemies down. It's like Pac-Man. You get the power-up, and then you have a few seconds you can attack the enemies.
Yeah.
The problem is, like, you don't ever really speed up, and you and the enemies kind of move the same speed, so when you get the power-up, it's almost impossible to catch the enemies.
Weird.
Yeah, it's weird. Bad pizza. Normally I would not include a lot of pizza talk, but did want to mention that perhaps our pizza preferences are based on the fact we live in areas known for decent pizza. I know it's true for Chicago. Is Michigan known for good pizza? Do they?
Oh, yeah. I think far
pizza?
more than Chicago. Yeah.
I've never heard of Michigan pizza.
What do you mean?
I've never heard of like Michigan's, like there's New York style pizza, there's Chicago style pizza. I've never heard of Michigan style pizza.
Yeah, there's Detroit style,
Okay.
which I think is kind of the normal style. There's kind of two types of Detroit style. There's kind of the square, kind of thicker one.
Okay.
And then there's kind of the really just Domino's style. You know, Little Caesars is Detroit, which I don't like Little Caesars. There's 10 million other places that are better than that. But yeah, Little Caesars and Domino's and Howie's are all from Detroit.
Yeah, I knew Little Caesars and Domino's were from Detroit.
I think Jets is too. I could be wrong, though. But Jets is pretty good. And then there's a ton of like kind of smaller ones that are kind of like that are like higher end kind of Domino's or Howie's.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna be traveling somewhere soon where like the only restaurant in town is like a pizza ranch, which I've never been to. Have you been to Pizza Ranch?
No, I thought you meant I thought you were being literal.
No, it's the name of a chain.
No,
and
I've never heard of that one.
I think the premise is it's like buffet pizza and chicken wings.
Oh, so like CC's, right? Isn't that buffet pizza?
Oh, yeah, like CC's, yeah.
Oof.
Yeah.
I mean, do you want to sit on the toilet for 3 days after you eat? Because that's what you get when you go there.
Yeah, I will. I will figure something else out.
Use the sneeze guard to its fullest.
Well, sometimes if you want to travel to kind of a quiet area, these are the trade-offs we have to make.
Yeah.
What else do I want to talk about here? Game Club games. Somebody just also writes in and says, Jungle Hunt. Never a big fan of it, but Stage 3 does have a very trippy effect. And sometimes he could see that might make some people queasy.
Not me. Only first-person shooters.
Sinistar, very tough to navigate at first. But he says perhaps he needs to play it on a real arcade cab to get the real effect. And which is strange. He is, for Mousetrap, not a fan of the Intellivision version, which I did not expect. And then he sent a bunch of photos from some recent conventions. One of them, though, I'm fascinated by here is the off-the-wall arcade machine photo he sent.
Yeah, what is that?
I
Cancel
do not know
TurboGrafx
anything about
port.
this game.
It looks very late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah, it looks like a Trapper Keeper.
It does, yeah.
Atari Off the Wall Arcade. So thank you for sending that. I'm going to have to look into that game. And he does mention there was a canceled TurboGrafx prototype for Off the Wall.
And I would definitely be in the museum part of this, where there's a bunch of nice Sony monitors set up with some old consoles and stuff.
And since I didn't mention it, these were photos from the Long Island Gaming Expo.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Adam writes in, who just says he played Sinistar on the Mister and was also confused by the controls at first, and had to watch some YouTube videos to figure out how to play it.
That's what I did.
Yeah, it is confusing. And also agrees that the 2600 version of Jungle Hunt is the best one.
Mm-hmm.
And that the extra graphics, on the ColecoVision 5200 did not actually help the game.
I agree with all that.
Mousetrap on the Intellivision, thing I forgot to mention. He says, in the Intellivision version, there's a red bird that can fly around the screen and move over walls. That's not in the other versions. I thought overall, though, the Intellivision version was easier in the ColecoVision version, but the ColecoVision version was way too easy. So Intellivision easier than 2600, ColecoVision comically easy. And the ColecoVision version, he says it's like the cats aren't interested in you at all.
Nice.
So, yeah. What else here? Ollie writes in. He mentioned in his last email that there was a podcast that was discontinued called The Sega Guys. And apparently after we mentioned it, they decided to relaunch. It's all because of us.
Nice. Absolutely. Yep.
Absolutely. Taking full credit for that one. But anyways, I haven't listened to The Sega Guys, but I would encourage people to check it out. I will probably check it out this week because I have to do a bunch of driving. And need some new stuff to listen to. But he also mentions playing Mousetrap on archive.org. He said he never even knew the game existed and was also a fan of being able to hold on to power pills and use them later in the game.
Mm-hmm.
So that's cool. Also wants to say thanks for picking Space Channel 5. He recently played it for the first time also. He says it gets very difficult as the game progresses. I don't know how far you got into it.
Oh, not far. My rhythm for that is not good at all. I thought I was hitting it, and I was not.
There's also a sequel, and that has even more Michael Jackson content, if that's your thing. And then he was doing some research or reading about the link cable for zero tolerance on the Mega Drive. Were you familiar with that?
No, I was going to ask about this one.
Yeah, so the I don't know much about this either, but the game Zero Tolerance had some sort of link cable. You could connect the player 2 ports on the two systems.
Uh-huh.
And then, play against each other, I guess, right? I'm not sure how that would work because he mentions it doesn't work on the analog SG, which I guess I believe. But just, knowing how the controller ports work, it would be kind of tough. It would be really tough to do. I would just say that. You could, I don't know how I know you can send data, so you can send up, down, left, right, all that stuff through the control port. But I think you'd have to write some custom code to read the player 2 port maybe you couldn't read it at a different interval than the first port, really. I guess there's nothing stopping you from sending, at the end of the day, I have a diagram somewhere on the internet that I posted of what each pin in that port does. Which surprisingly there wasn't already one of those out somewhere.
Sorry to cut you off there. Is that pin direct? Is it 1-for-1 for, well, are there enough pins to make a 1-for-1 for each thing you could press?
No, there isn't. So it has this sort of polling interval scheme. Mm-hmm. This is what's bad? I actually have to go in and look at something I wrote a year ago to understand how this works again.
I'm the same way with code I write the day before.
Yeah. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9 pins, right? Mm-hmm. one of the pins is ground. One of the pins is 5-volt in. Right? So you only have 7 pins that you can actually do stuff with. And as you've noticed, there's more than 7 buttons on just the regular Sega Genesis controller.
Yeah.
Because D-pad is 4 buttons.
Yeah.
So there has this sort of it has this toggle, right? That you have to toggle like high and low on the port to read different things, right? So pin 1 is up or Z, and pin 2 is down or Y, pin 3 is left X, pin 4 is right or the mode button. Pin 6 is either A or B, pin 7 is select. This thing is always... No, pin 7 is what toggles between low and high. Pin 8 is ground, and then pin 9 is start or C button. Depending which toggle you're in, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So you could, I mean, I at some point, you know, when I was looking at it, noticed how some like clone systems treat those pins a little bit differently. Like there's the mode pin. In some clone systems, just always leave the mode pin flagged as on. I don't know why, because it was a system that has it's a dedicated system, so it only has 3 buttons ever, so it just hard codes the mode pin down. Anyhow, you could write a program that, share data between 2 things. It's kind of limited. I mean, you'd have to come up with your own scheme, right? So you have really just 6 pins that transmit data, and you can only transmit 12 things, in one cycle between them, really. Right? Because if you think about this, 6-button controller plus 4 D-pad plus start and mode is 12, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Right. So that the 6-button controller for the Genesis, that's like the most things you can do through the port at one time is 12 things. In one, unless you want to have a bunch of like lag because you can't read the control port and run the game at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're doing that during VBlank, right? So you could do it. I don't know if he's trying to volunteer me to write the Mr. Support or where the analog, support for this cable. I'm not going to do it. But I mean, I think if I had a cable, I could write a cartridge that debugged what that cable was doing. Right? So one system would have 0 tolerance. I think I have a copy of 0 tolerance even. Yeah, I think I might actually own 0 tolerance. So I'd put that in one console, plug the cable into another console that has my debug cartridge, and just have that intercept with 0 tolerance ascending. And then from there, try and reverse. Yeah, it's too much work. I'm not doing any of this.
And so wait, I don't know if we said this. What does this cable do again? Like,
so there was a shooter. Have you played 0 tolerance?
No, I haven't. No.
So they released this game for free a while ago. It was originally a commercial game, and then the developer released the source code for free. Not the source code, just the ROM. So you actually have to decompile it still, and it's like a very, very technically advanced game. But it had there was like a multiplayer mode. And I haven't played the multiplayer mode. So you link 2, but you have to have 2 Genesis systems, right? So like, I guess you're each playing, I don't think it's a death match. I think you're both just playing the same level, maybe.
Okay. Huh.
Like, I think it's co-op, perhaps. I see that Hardcore Gaming 101 has a write-up on this game, so they almost certainly will go into much more detail than I know off the top of my head. But, like, again, it's a very, very advanced, like, just the graphics and the 3D, controls on this game are very advanced for the Genesis. And then the sequel is, like, even cooler looking, but it wasn't, I don't think it was ever, was there? I think that was not complete. I think just the prototype for that is out.
Yeah, I'm going to have to watch some videos on this.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could just decompile. The easiest thing would be to decompile the ROM. They, like I said, they gave the game away for free, so I don't recall them giving also including the source code to that. But that would obviously make it then very easy to figure out how that cable works.
That's cool.
Sorry. So there's our Sega Genesis controller port top.
That's the topic of the episode.
Yeah, when I first heard controller, I thought it was going to be using the expansion port, the big open slot on the back of the Genesis.
Yeah.
Like, you could probably, I don't actually know anything about how that works, but I assume you could do a lot more with it than you could linking through the controller port, but it's cheaper and easier, I'm sure, to work with the controller port.
Yeah. Well, cool. We have some social feedback. Some people answered about Mousetrap, and some people answered about the best sequels on different hardware. So someone wrote that Mousetrap was one of their favorite ColecoVision titles. And some of the best sequels on different hardware: Mario Kart 64, Mega Man X4, Smash Brothers, Super Smash Brothers Melee, Link to the Past, Ocarina of Time, Halo, Combat Evolved. Oh yeah, I had a sequel on the 2600. I had a D-Make or something, right? And Dragon Warrior, what is that, 7?
Yeah, okay, so that would have been the first PlayStation game, I think.
Mass Effect 2, Soul Blade, Soul Edge to Soul Calibur, Gradius to Gradius 5, Thunder Force 3 and 4 up to Thunder Force 5 for the Saturn and PS1, Outrun Arcade to Outrun Online. I haven't played Outrun Online. I'll have to check that out. Have you seen that one?
No, I have not.
Oh. And then Phantasy Star to Phantasy Star 2. Now, Phantasy Star, everyone knows I do not like turn-based games, but Phantasy Star, the series is on my list, and I know I'm asking for trouble.
Yeah. You're going to want to get, like, at least for the original game, you're going to want to get the Switch port that has the maps.
I got the, I think it's included in that Switch cartridge I got that has like 25 Genesis games. That Genesis cart.
Well, Phantasy Star 2 and maybe 3 are on that collection. Maybe 4,
Okay.
I don't know. The original Phantasy Star was Master System. Every now and then they do include it on a Genesis collection.
Yeah.
I mean, really, the graphics quality on it is amazing. If you compare it to like Final Fantasy on the NES, I mean, they don't look like games from the same generation.
Yeah. I mean, I just heard the story's great, so I wanna check it out. And they're gonna make it into a live action movie sometime.
Oh, I hope not.
Well, I didn't give our info earlier, but if anyone, please write into us. If you play Predator 2, Alien vs. Predator, Mousetrap, Space Channel 5, if you listen to John Carmack talk for 5 hours, if you are Pac-Man in the live-action Pac-Man movie, and if Janet Jackson crashes your drive, please email us at email@retrogameclub.net. That is email@retrogameclub.net. And Zach runs all our social stuff, and our link tree is in the show notes as well. We have a Discord server and all that fun stuff.
Yes. Thank you to Zach for taking care of all that stuff that I don't want to take care of.
Yeah. And every time he gets busy, I give him a hard time on purpose. So thank you for dealing with all that. I think that wraps this one up.
Yeah, I think so. So thanks for listening.
Yeah, thank you.